Hello, and welcome back to Cinema Squadron. I'm Sam,
I'm Ben.
and today we are talking about Shazam, the newest film from DC and Warner Brothers. Film stars Zachary Levi, Asher Angel, Jack Dylan Grazer, Digimon Hunsu, and Mark Strong. The film follows teenage orphan Billy Batson, who, once he acquires the powers of the gods, must aspire to achieve his full potential in order to protect his family and the city of Philadelphia by becoming the adult superhero Shazam. This film was directed by David F. Sandberg, who has previously directed such films as Lights Out as well as Annabelle Creation. So this is kind of a new direction for him in terms of tone, for sure. So going into this film, I didn't really know what to expect. I wasn't entirely anticipating it. I wouldn't say. I was definitely getting more excited for it as we got closer to it, but it wasn't like my most highly anticipated movie. Ben, what did you think?
I'd agree. I don't think any of the previews were bad, but it just seemed kind of like a throwaway movie. So I had low expectations, I'd say.
Yeah, and we're bringing this review to you early. We got to check out a free Fandango early access screening on March 23rd. So yeah, this will be coming to you a few weeks before the movie comes out. So there won't be any spoilers in this video. We're just going to talk about basic stuff, just give you kind of our simple thoughts. So let's get into it. All right, so getting into the performances, Zachary Levi as Shazam is the main star of this film, and he really brings a great energy to the film. You can tell he's really excited about the opportunity to be in this role, and I really enjoy that when actors, you can feel their energy bleed into the role and kind of permeate. I compare it to sort of John Boyega in The Force Awakens. You can tell how excited he was to be in that movie, and that just sort of gets me more invested in the character and the film as a whole. So I really thought he brought a great energy to the film. It's just a fun time, and you can tell he's just having a blast filming it.
Yeah, he had a lot of charisma. You could tell he really enjoyed the whole process.
Yeah, and that's one thing I think that sets this film in particular apart from maybe other films in the DC universe. It just has a lot of heart to it, and that really comes forward, especially with Asher Angel, who plays Billy Batson as his true self, 14-year-old. He's a foster kid. He's bounced around from like homes in four different states, I want to say, is how they explain it in the movie. But he has a lot of more dramatic scenes as well as a lot of funny ones. But this film, while it has a very light tone to it, also has some darker and more thematic elements as well. And I think that the way they blended those two together really worked. I think it serves a great purpose in this film, so I really enjoyed that. Jack Dylan Grazer plays Freddie Freeman?
Yep, Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, and he's sort of like the superhero expert. Mm-hmm. He's got all kinds of like superhero memorabilia, and he's well versed in Batman, Superman, Aquaman, all the heroes, and sort of helps Billy not only discover his powers but also learn how to use them for good, and sort of he provides him with the moral compass that he's rather lacking when he first comes into these powers. So those two, he works really well with both Asher Angel and Zachary Levi. He has great chemistry. He was previously in It Chapter 1 and was fantastic in that movie, so he brings that same energy here, and I really can't wait to see what he does next because I really enjoy him in these movies. Moving into more of the secondary characters, of course, you have Mark Strong as Dr. Savannah, who they really make an effort to develop early in the film. The opening in the film revolves around his character, and I think they did a decent job setting up his background. I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of him as an adult. But Mark Strong is like your stereotypical villain. I mean, if you look at films like Sherlock Holmes, Kick-Ass, this movie, he's serviceable. He does a very fine job. I don't think it's anything that's gonna like blow anyone away, but he does a very good job. He's a good villain. He's a serviceable villain. I enjoy his performances. So
Yeah, and they tried to explain like his motivations. He's not just a stereotypical mustache twirling bad guy. They try to give him some sort of reason for what he's doing.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. Moving on, Freddie and Billy are in a foster home. They're with a foster family with 4 other kids. You have Mary, Darla, Eugene, and Pedro. And a lot of these characters really add some great, deliver some great performances. Darla in particular,
Oh, yeah.
she's this little girl who's she's very centered around family. She looks at all these other foster kids as her family, and Billy really rejects that early on. He doesn't like the concept of family. He's not very trusting. But her character is easily one of the best parts of this film, I thought. I really enjoyed her performance. So she's the standout of that group. You also have Eugene, who's like a gamer hacker, kind of the smart aleck of the group, and he adds a lot of great funny scenes early on.
Oh yeah.
Mary is sort of like the oldest one. She's kind of the one that'll be leaving the nest soon, going off to college. So that provides some interesting moments. Pedro's just kind of there. I kind of thought they would do more with his character, but he's fine. Like he does a fine job. It's not like he's bad. I just kind of wish they would have done more with him. He felt like the one that kind of got left
in the dust.
left in the background, so to speak. Yeah. So as we mentioned, this is definitely the most light-hearted of the DC films, and when I say that, I also want to emphasize, well, there are a lot of lighthearted moments in this movie. There are actually some pretty dark moments in this film as well. It's not Batman v Superman. It's not like Man of Steel. It's a very lighthearted film, but there are some dark moments and also just some more intense moments, I would say. So.
Oh yeah.
I think this film is fine for kids, but I think if you have younger kids, there might be
some.
I might hold off on this one. I think you should definitely see it, but maybe wait till your kids are a little older before showing them this one. But definitely a good family movie, I think, for an older crowd. It also does a really interesting thing. It implements other aspects of the DCU, particularly there's a lot of Superman, Batman references. There are some Aquaman references. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed them because it mostly comes through Freddy's just knowledge of these characters.
He's obsessed with them.
Yeah, and there's a few other instances of it, but it didn't feel overwhelming. I think one thing with the Marvel movies sometimes is I think they're a little too kind of in your face. Mm-hmm. With some of the references and the connections. This felt very natural.
Oh yeah.
It felt like it fit the movie, so I actually really enjoyed that aspect of it a lot. Any other thoughts on that?
Well, it's very comedic. Like there's a lot of comedy, and like for me, not all of the comedy worked, but because there was so much comedy, like I'm sure you'll find something to laugh at.
Yeah,
like,
there's
a wide range.
There are definitely some laugh out loud moments for both of us where I think we both found ourselves laughing. Yeah, so it's definitely the funniest of the DC films by far, and I think it definitely stands out amongst the crowd. Mm-hmm. Going into the action scenes, they're fun. I don't think there's anything in this movie that's mind-blowing. There's not like one scene to me that really stands out as like, oh my god, that's worth the price of admission alone. They're fun. I think kids will really enjoy it. I think adults can find enjoyment in it too. The special effects to me were pretty good for, especially by DC standards.
Yeah, by DC standards.
Nothing really stood out as being looking particularly bad.
Yeah.
With one exception that's kind of spoilers because it's not in any of the trailers, so we won't get into that here. But the CGI for the most part I thought was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
The suit is really cool. At least I thought the suit was cool.
Yeah, I like the suit, the colors.
As for issues with the movie, I do have a few. As I mentioned before, I really liked what they did with Dr. Sivana's character in the beginning of the movie, sort of developing him, but as you go along, he
kind of drops out.
Yeah, he kind of drops out. he's present, but they don't. It's he's just doing bad guy things almost after like the one scene of development. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit more development with this character, just to sort of further establish and sort of get me even more invested in the plight of his character. And the third act kind of drags a little bit. I think the last sort of climactic fight scene drags on a little too long for my taste. It's still very fun. I wouldn't say I was bored. I just could have done with a few maybe edits to kind of tighten it up a little bit. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm going to go ahead and give Shazam a 4 out of 5. I think it is I think for me, it's the second best DC film in this DCEU after Wonder Woman. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a lot of fun. Definitely check this out when it comes out on April 5th. Ben, you want to go ahead and give your grade?
I am also going to give it a 4 out of 5. I think it does a really good job of it's just a fun movie. Like, it does a good job of conveying what happens when a kid becomes a superhero. And it's like, that's all you want.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like this movie goes for that. There's no confusion of tone here. Like, they know what they're going for, they go for it, and it works. I think it works really well.
Yeah,
I would definitely call this movie I don't know if it was a surprise, because I never thought it looked bad.
Sure.
I just wasn't sure I was like really cared that much to see it.
Not super
but
intrigued.
definitely check this movie out. Like I said,
yeah.
No spoilers. There are 2 post-credit scenes, so if you're wondering about that, be sure to stay through the credits.
And the credits are pretty cool too.
Yeah, there's a cool end credits. It reminded me of
it's neat to watch.
The montage reminded me of Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah, it's
similar sort of style, and I really enjoyed it. Again, sort of more DC greater universe connection. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching this early review of Shazam. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, have a good one.
Skeet skeet.
Have a good day.